Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponderon Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, we're going to talk about who will see the most snow this winter, as well as talk about the possible storm tracks that will bring the snow. So before I do get started, if you do like weather related content, please subscribe to my channel as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. All right, so let's get started. So here is an overall snowfall map that all the snow that's occurred this year, and this is as of September 30th. Now we're about a week into meteorologically winter. Now I do think we're going to have a late winter this year, meaning the winter is going to extend all the way through the end of March, bringing the predominant amount of snow. So we've got a good over 100 days left to count the snowfall total. So here is an overall snowfall map of what's happened in snowfall this year, and we've got some pretty heavy amounts already that occurred in Montana and the Dakotas and Colorado and parts of the upper Midwest and the New England states where we had that big snowfall about last week. But even down into Indiana and Ohio has seen some snow, and even parts of Missouri. So, and even the Panhandle in Texas has already seen some. So we're well on our way for a pretty big winter this year. So here's an overall precipitation map. So I included this as well. So this kind of gives you an idea of where all the rainfall has occurred this year, year to date. So we only have about 3 more weeks left of this year, but you can see the kind of the demarcation line where much of the southeast is above average precipitation, and much of the west has been a lot drier than normal. So here's an overall part of the temperatures, the water temperatures. So this has actually a lot to do with it too. So you can see we have the elevated temperatures in the Pacific. We have the elevated temperatures off the coast of Alaska. We have this little upwelling that occurred last week off that bomb cyclone. And then we have a little bit of upwelling here off that last storm. So, but overall, we have well above average ocean temperatures. And that's going to be the fuel to tap into to increase the water vapor. So when the cold air comes down, it'll have a above average rainfall in the south and southeast and in the northeast, but also include more snowfall because you'll have that colder air coming down and overriding that and kind of clashing together. So here is the latest outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. So as of December the 2nd, we had a 70% chance of it remaining an ENSO neutral through spring. Now there are going to be some times where I think we do hit what they call a Modoki El Nino phase, and we're kind of in one now and kind of coming off of it, but predominantly it's going to be an ENSO neutral, and at times will teeter into the weak Modoki El Nino phase as we go deeper into winter. All right. So here's some of the possible storm tracks I think that's going to occur this year, and we've already seen a few of these. So the first one's the Alberta Clipper. It's essentially a low pressure that forms east of the Rocky Mountains, and these are pretty much predominantly all snow because it has a lot of cold air to work with from the north, but it'll travel across the middle Atlantic and bring more snows in the Midwest and travel to the east. But like I said, it's got more cold air to work with, but these are typically lighter snow events, but they do add up over time. Now the next one is the Miller B type nor'eastern. Now these particularly start off as Alberta Clippers, and they'll run across the upper Midwest portion, but the low, as soon as it kind of hits the Appalachian Mountains, it'll kind of die off, but then it'll form another low that'll form typically closer into the Atlantic coast and deepen. And then these particular storms can bring a lot of snowfall to the northeast because you've got that colder air coming in off the northwest flow, but going to be rain on the south side, then ice in the middle, but then heavy snowfall as this pours in, as this low deepens. So here's kind of another map and how that would look like as this jet stream comes across. It spits off another low and deepens, and we might see some of this actually coming up in about a week. but this storm will deepen off the coast and kind of wrap around, tighten up the isobars, and dump heavy snow in the New England states. So that's one particular setup. Now, this is the storm of the type A nor'eastern that might actually occur in about a week from now. We've got a low pressure coming off the southwest coast. You got rain on the south side, and sometimes it could be an old frontal boundary that would particularly stall out in the Gulf, form a low pressure, and then as it rides up the coast, it will deepen and again bring more heavy snowfall. And again, this is your predominantly the most active track I think that's going to occur this year off those induced SOI events, elevating the Pacific jet and swinging up the coast. And so as this deepens, it will bring blizzard type conditions at times in the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. So that would be another scenario. As we go deeper into winter, these are other possible storm tracks that I think is going to occur. So particularly in January and February, as I think when the NAO goes negative as well as the AO, the overall pattern will slow down. And then at times you will have a low pressure that'll form in the panhandle. And that's when I think the southern snows are going to occur, because we'll have this low pressure slow down, form off the panhandle, and then swing across the southern states and swing it up the coast. And then it'll be at times we'll have a Gulf Coast low that'll form, but instead of the system being fast and coming up the coast like a nor'eastern, it'll swing up through the southeast. And that's when I think you'll get those snow events and the ice events in the southeast. So, but this will be later on into winter is the most likely time for these type of scenarios. So here's my overall precipitation outlook. Like I told you, there are going to be some times there's a 70% chance that's an ENSO neutral pattern right now. So predominantly, yes, there are going to be a little bit wetter times, a week or two in California, but overall, out of the 90, 120 days of winter, you're going to be the driest time in California. But on the south side into Texas and Arizona and New Mexico, yes, I do think you're going to be slightly below normal in these areas in the south. But as a lot of these belows deepen and swing up, you'll have normal precip in south of Florida, but you'll have above average precipitation in much of the southeast, much of the New England states, as well as predominantly in the north, where I think you're going to have the most active pattern of snow and more moisture to work with as these systems tap into. So here's an overall snowfall map that I think who's going to get the most overall snow this winter. And I am expecting a big snowfall winter for much of the United States, and especially areas that'll receive the heavier snow will tack on to those areas. I think even Great Falls, Montana has already seen 60 inches of snow. So Montana, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Colorado, Minnesota, Wisconsin, all the New England states. So I think you're going to get heavier snow, blizzard type conditions at times, all the New England states, Maine, Boston, Pennsylvania, Ohio. I'm expecting a pretty big winter, and Pennsylvania and northern parts of Indiana and Ohio, and a lot of lake effect. I mean, the lake effect is there's only like 0.4% lakes, the lakes are frozen right now. So I do think this is going to be a big lake effect year where I'm thinking like 10 feet of lake effect snows around some of these lakes. So I am expecting a lot of snowfall around the lakes. And as this kind of tails off, there's a moderate band of snow in parts of Missouri, Kentucky, West Virginia, Northern Virginia, northern parts of the Panhandle. But you'll get into some of the lighter snows in Washington, Oregon, Nevada, Utah, New Mexico, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I think you are going to get some snow. Even down to Houston, I'm expecting a trace. It only snows like once every 5 years, but I am expecting this, as these systems come down, it'll even bring some snow into all the way down to the deep south into Houston this year. And even parts of Louisiana And yes, Atlanta, Georgia, I think by the time the winter's over, you are going to get some snow into Alabama and Mississippi and northern parts of Louisiana, even all parts of South Carolina and North Carolina. So in Tennessee, we'll see some lighter snows. I mean, what I say, kind of give you an idea. In Dallas, they average 1.7 inches. So I'm thinking anywhere from 4 to 6 inches for the Dallas-Fort Worth area this year. So that'll kind of give you an idea relative to the average on these lighter snows, what I think you might get, as well as the moderate and the heavier bands. And down south, where there's actually nothing, I don't think you're going to get much snow. Yes, you could have the Sierra Mountains, but all these areas in California, Arizona, South Texas, much of Florida, deep south by the coast, I just don't think that, the odds are not that great that you see snowfall this year. So that'll kind of give you an idea of what I'm thinking of the areas that are going to be seeing snow and the possible snow tracks that are going to bring the snow. So I appreciate you guys watching this video, and definitely like this video and subscribe to my channel, and share with your friends on social media, and definitely stay with me and catch me at the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.